this country is a country where you have to work very hard. If you're lazy in Africa, you can't be lazy here. And when you're told 8, you should be there at 8.
Hey,
that was one major thing I learned, because I was used to African time, maybe because of the way African child are being raised. So there were clearly differences between these two child. So the British child, the one I had worked with, they are all good, but sometimes they can be slow, and sometimes they do some stuff. You would be like, you're not meant to do this, but there's nothing you can do to it. On the norms, I wasn't supposed to attend an interview. I was just supposed to submit my documents and get the visa.
Okay.
And they made the decision. But in my case, I was told that unfortunately we are considering.
And that was written in the email.
Yes, we are considering to give you this visa, but you need to attend an interview.
Welcome back, everyone, to Nor Speaks Out. I'm Nor, and this channel is all about African history and diaspora stories. I'm really excited to introduce my guest to you. He's going to tell you a little bit about his journey of moving from Nigeria and coming to the UK. So if you don't mind, if you could please just introduce yourself, tell us your name, and also tell us where you were born and raised, please.
All right. Hello, Nas viewers and subscribers. My name is Banjoko Damilarry Babatunde, but I'm well known as Damilarry. I'm from Nigeria, and I was born and I grew up in Nigeria, Lagos.
In Lagos, born and raised Lagos, Nigeria. Where in Lagos? Give us a.
Surulere. That was where the popular music superstar Wizkid was born.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You come from a good spot. Okay.
Yeah. It's born in Surulere.
Nice. Okay. Also, can you tell us your age even? I didn't ask you.
Yeah, I'm 23 years old.
23 years young. Yeah. Beautiful. All right. 23 years old. Born and raised in Lagos, in Nigeria. Just tell us a little bit about what you're doing here in the UK. Just why? Why did you decide to leave Lagos, leave Nigeria, and come to the UK?
All right. I'm currently an international volunteer for the UK Scout here in the UK. When I was growing up as a young boy, it has always been a dream to visit the first world country, like the UK, America.
First world. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the UK, America. So at this point, I never realized I was gonna be opportune to be in the UK, because I was very too busy with my life. I used to be a travel content creator back at home. So I travel mostly to African countries. And all of a sudden I got this opportunity to be an international volunteer here in the UK, to give back to young people, kids, inspiring thousands of kids' life. So that was how I found myself here in the UK. And that's been a great experience so far.
Okay. So you've been a scout so you're here volunteering with the UK Scouts?
Yeah, with the UK Scout.
Which you have been doing. How long have you been a scout in Nigeria?
So in Nigeria, I started scouting at the age of 5. I was a Cub Scout. The young scout then.
At 5?
Little Cub Scout. Yeah.
Okay.
So I started at a very young age. So I grew up in scouting throughout my high school.
Who got you into scouts? So 5 years old, is that like something your parents kind of encouraged you to get in?
No. So when I was in primary school then, so I was in nursery school, we do have scouting as a curriculum activities.
Okay.
So I joined in there, then I grew up in it. So when I got into high school, I was opportune to also have scouting as part of my curriculum activities.
Okay.
So which was really interesting, because I've been a scout from a very young boy. So I continued, and I became a leader in scouting. So since then I've represented the Nigerian Scout at an African event where scouts from all over Africa met. It was really nice. So that was how I find myself in scouting.
Oh
So
my
I've been
goodness.
scouting until today.
Yeah.
So now I'm giving back to the UK Scout, giving back to Scout at the other side of the world,
Mm,
far away from home. So it's
yeah.
really nice.
And so I'm guessing then once you passed your interview and you've fulfilled the various criteria that was set, they sorted out like in terms of applications, passport, visas, and stuff. What was that like for you? Did the scouts take care of most of that? I guess.
Yeah, for the application, aside from the scouting application, I still need to apply for the UK visa, which is a temporary worker in the UK. Yeah, it was a long process because I was coming to work with young people, so I have to get like a criminal record,
Yeah.
yeah, all of those stuff, police reports.
Yeah.
I had to pay NHS, which was really a huge amount of
Really.
yeah, so it was very, very expensive coming to the UK. But coming to the UK to volunteer, and paying that ridiculous amount of money to come,
Yeah.
it's worth it at the end of it. I'm really proud and I feel inspired that I was able to do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you apply for the UK visa and then you go through the process. So when I applied for the UK, because people get rejected a lot from Africa, especially when it comes to this kind of program,
Yeah.
they get them rejected a lot. So when I applied, after a month, I received a message that unfortunately, unfortunately, they are considering to give me the visa, but I need to attend an interview. And on a norms,
Oh,
I wasn't supposed to attend an interview. I was just supposed to submit my documents and get the visa.
okay.
And they made the decision. But in my case, I was told that
Yeah.
unfortunately, we are considering.
And that was written in like
Yeah,
the email.
yes, we are
Okay.
considering to give you this visa, but you need to
Wow.
attend an interview.
Okay.
Sadly, I was traveling out of the state. That the dates they gave me to come for the interview,
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna be in the state currently as at that time. So I was on my way to Taraba State. It's a state in my country. So I was like, no, it's not possible. I'm gonna miss this, and that is the end.
Yeah.
So I had to like contact the UK immigration office and told them I wasn't in the status at that time because I can't come to the UK consulate office for the interview that day. So we
The UK
negotiate.
consulate in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we extended the date to when I was gonna return back to Lagos.
Okay.
And
Nice.
yeah, so luckily for me,
Yeah.
because in some cases they won't do that because it's
Yeah.
none of their business.
Well, and they said unfortunately. Anyway,
Yeah.
so all right. Unfortunately, we are considering your application. Come for an interview.
Yeah.
What happened after the like?
So
what was the interview like? Tell us a little bit about that.
yeah, so at the interview, it was actually a lady who interviewed me.
Just one
So
person.
yeah, just one person.
Okay.
And it was virtual because they had to call me from the UK here. So
Yeah.
so it was virtual. It wasn't like a physical interview.
So you had to go to the UK consulate in Nigeria.
In Nigeria, yeah, in
physically.
Lagos, yeah.
But they call
They
the
call
UK.
they call from the UK.
Wow.
in the country.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
so
Okay.
yeah. So she was asking questions pertaining to what I do. What is the assurance that you were going to come back to your home country? Because I think that has been a big, huge issue.
Yeah.
And so they are trying to start preventing that to continue happen. So they were like, you must be able to you must be able to prove that you've been doing something and this is what is going to make you come back to your home country before they can grant you that visa.
Okay.
Even some people prove, and at the end of the day they still got denied.
Yeah.
So I was just like, yeah, this is why I'm coming to your country and this is what I'm coming to do. I'm coming to work with young people and this is what I have been doing in my home country.
Yeah.
I've been doing well. YouTuber, work for a film company, I work for a travel company. So I just said everything and well, okay. At the end of the interview, she was like, are you happy with all what you have said? Because they were recording the interview.
Yeah.
I said, yes, of course. And that is it. This was like, okay, we'll get back to you. And that was how the interview ended. Yeah.
Do you remember how long roughly? Was it like a half hour?
It was about 30 minutes because the questions were extremely long. So I just have to take my time, it was extremely long. Yeah. And they were sensitive questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goodness. Okay. So we made it through all of that. How long before they let you know
then
the decision?
After the interview, it didn't take up to 2 weeks. That was the funniest part. It was very fast.
Okay.
It didn't take up to 2 weeks, and I got a message. In the message, they didn't told me that my visa has been approved. They just told me my documents are ready.
Okay. For collection.
For collection.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, what is gonna happen now?
Yeah.
Has it been denied or has it been approved? So I just went to the consulate to just either I got it or not. I don't know. I don't care. Then when I got there, I was like, oh God, I got the document, and I was like, let me open my passport to be sure the visa has been stamped.
So even like the people who are speaking to you, they don't say, oh, here you
just collect then yourself at the end of the day. If you've been rejected or you've been approved.
Oh, that's like painful if you're rejected. But
yes,
in your case,
after all of because it's not easy after all of the running around, paying for NHS, which is about $600.
Oh, so
£600.
And that's all paid for as part of your application.
Yes, and then you pay for visa fee. Aside from that,
how much is the visa fee?
The visa fee was about €256. If I am, that was the fee. So it was expensive.
Yeah.
So everything in total was about £900.
Yeah.
For the processing.
Yeah.
Of the visa. And
and you could have been rejected, and you wouldn't be refunded.
You can be rejected for it, and that is the end.
Yeah.
No refund, and
Okay. Oh my! But in your case, you weren't rejected.
In my case, I wasn't rejected.
Yes.
I got it.
Got the visa. Okay. So first impressions. What did you think then, just of the country? So maybe like the first couple of weeks that you stayed here. So you were based in London, weren't you, initially?
Yeah, it was the first week I was in London.
Yeah.
Before I went to the north, I was in London. So it wasn't really bad because the first week I was on training. I was doing a lot of training with the scout. Because you coming to work with kids, and this is not Africa. This is the UK, and they don't joke when it comes to kids policy.
Yeah.
We need to be very careful. So we did a training, even when they knew that you have a lot of training being done in your home country before coming about the safety of kids. Then we had another 1 week training, kid policy, how you can safeguarding as well.
Yeah.
How you should stay safe, all of those stuff. So it was just training back to back. So I really didn't add so much impression at the first 1 week, but at the end of the week I was opportune to go to London to go for sightseeing, because that is what I love doing. I love traveling a lot, so I was like, I went to the London Eyes, the London Bridge, so so it was nice, and I was like, London is beautiful. It's really beautiful. So I knew that everywhere in the UK can be like London. So, people actually thought that the north of England all looks like London. People only knew London, like the city.
Yeah.
So
you mean like people back home?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but people never knew that going down to the north, there are some places that are just farm, where people farm, a lot of stuff going, and there are villages in the north. You'll be like, oh, interesting. So
is that what you thought as well when you came?
I didn't have that impression because I wasn't thinking that way. But when I was traveling down to the north, and I was like, I heard of Kuda village. I was like, Kuda village. And the definition of village in Africa. When you say you're going to the village.
Yeah.
So So yeah, but it was really nice, and that was it, Yeah, it
Yeah.
was really cool. So
And in the north, whereabouts are you based in?
um, I based in Cuda Forest because we got a center there, a scout center, but it was closer to Newcastle.
Okay.
It was closer to Newcastle.
Okay.
So, but before you get to Newcastle, Newcastle is a big city.
Mm.
So, there's this town, Exen town, before you get to Cuda village.
Okay.
So, but it's closer to the nearest city is Newcastle.
Okay. Nice. So you've had a good amount of travel in between there as well, which is quite nice.
Yes, travel all around the UK.
Yes, and there's quite a few videos that you've already posted with the content I've seen.
Yeah. I think I already traveled more than a British citizen in his own country.
Yeah,
I've traveled.
I think I would agree with that. So on your travels, and then also with the work that you're doing with the Scouts volunteering, what would you say, what's your impression? What have you found, I guess, in the UK? How have people treated you? How have you been received in this country thus far? And then also, what issues have you come across?
All right, because I was opportune to work with other volunteers from other countries, so it wasn't like just the British people only. So I was, luckily for me, there were two Germans with me that we were volunteering together. So we started together. We got the same centers. So I was with the Germans and three other British citizens who were also a volunteer. No, they were not a volunteer. They were an instructor because they don't call them volunteers. We are the volunteers, international volunteers. So they were the lead instructors.
Okay.
Yeah.
To kind of like supervise.
Yes, through everything. Yeah. Okay. So they were really super nice.
Okay. Nice.
I don't know if I should do a shout out to Charlotte.
Yeah, why not?
She was really good. She really made the UK cool. She welcomed me, especially because I was from Africa. She was like, this is a whole new experience for you in the UK. So yeah, she was pretty nice and she made me feel comfortable. Nice. The first 1 week in the north was super cool. But as time goes on, after spending 3 months, it started getting lonely. And because I was living within a diverse group. They were not all British. They were Germans. Yeah. And there's this slogan that German can be aggressive. They can always,
they're maybe not so warm.
They were really nice people, but you always see them. They're always like, so yeah. So we were able to adapt. I was able to adapt with it, and I got along. We shared a lot of stuff together.
Okay, nice. And it was two German guys, right?
Yeah, two Germans. So it started going well. Everything. Yeah. So that was the boring side of it. So at some point, I started enjoying what I love doing. So it started getting fun. So I keep it going that way. So
you mean the activities you were doing with the Scouts?
Yeah, because I used to be an outdoor instructor. I run activities for kids, like low ropes, high ropes, zip wire, paddleboarding, kayaking.
Okay.
So it was really fun.
Nice.
It started going well.
Can I ask you, African children in comparison to British children, and you've kind of had London British children, and you've also had Newcastle around there. Yeah. What's how?
To be honest, my honest opinion about this is African child are very, very smart to what I have experienced here in the UK. So maybe because of the way African child are being raised, so there were clearly differences between these two child. So the British child, the one I had worked with, they are all good, but sometimes they can be slow, and sometimes they do some stuff. You would be like, you're not meant to do this, and but there's nothing you can do to it. So you just have to overlook and just but when it comes to an African child, these boys and girls are always smart. I'm not talking about toddler now. I'm talking about like a young child of 4, 5, 6.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Early. So that's quite early.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like the way they raise African child are being raised is different from the way the British. So these African child are always sharp and smart. But yeah, I already work with some British kids that are smart as well.
Yeah.
They are very smart, but I think
it's all right. You can custom
40%, 40% out of 100% of the British kid sometimes can do some. Let us just skip that.
Yeah.
Let us just skip that.
That's interesting. Do you think then it's like so like the children that are maybe 4 or 5? Do you think they like it's faster for them maybe to understand kind of like the different scout tasks? Is it like they understand things quicker, or do you think they listen more? Like,
yeah,
would you say the difference?
They understand things very fast. They catch up with things, and they take time, especially, and it also depends on the instructor, because someone like myself, they are always shouting my name all of the time because of the way I instruct those kids. So like I'm used to like shouting all around, and they love it that way. But when I was in Nigeria, I do more of that shouting as well. But you see that energy from the kids. They are always jumping. You see that energy of the African child.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's happened here as well. But there are some kids who just sit there, some.
Just a bit. Even like the younger ones, you think? Yeah, you've seen that. Interesting. You spoke a bit about feeling lonely. How did you combat the loneliness? What did you do even with these children who, maybe aren't necessarily getting things as quick as the kids you're used to working with? How did you deal? What did you do to manage the loneliness, but then also the work that you obviously are here to complete?
Yeah, so the way I was able to manage what actually caused the loneliness was because it wasn't what I was expecting that I met. I was actually coming to be an outdoor instructor. Then when I realized there is more to being an outdoor instructor. Maintaining the center, doing a lot of things I can't do at home. Like doing some cleaning, because you have to do some cleaning because of customers. And we are responsible for doing that, making everything ready before the customers come in.
Yeah.
So it looked like a lot, and I was like, oh no, I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah. I want to be with the kids.
Yeah, I just want to be with the kids. I just want to instruct with kids. I just want to make kids do stuff, and I help them do it, teach them how to do it.
Yeah.
So that was my aim, and actually all of these things was on the document that okay, this is what you're coming to do.
Yeah.
I knew, but I wasn't really expecting it to be something really ethical like that. So yeah. So but I got used to it. So it was part of the fun.
Okay.
So I see it as fun stuff to do.
Yeah.
Because when customer leave, you go into the lodge, you start cleaning just to make sure it's ready for the next customer. And doing all of this thing like service, you're not getting paid. So it's a service. So it's really fun. And I was like, I never thought I was gonna do this 2-3 years of my life. But wow, I feel fulfilled doing this, and I was very happy. Now this is the end of it.
Yeah.
But I feel like to do that alone, I achieved a lot.
Yeah.
I never thought I was gonna do it, but I did it. So I can basically survive anywhere. Yeah.
Nice. What did you do with the young people? So you're working with these children, and so there's 40% who are not quite getting things. Like, how did you sort of adjust your technique or maybe your communication as you're working with young people to kind of, I guess, get them to where they needed to be?
Yeah, as an instructor, when I first started, I won't lie, I was very slow as well, because it was my first time. I've never been an instructor before. So yeah, but I realized to make these kids happy, I need to put in more effort into how I am instructing these kids, how I tell them to do something, how I'm gonna demonstrate things to them, So like I had to put in more effort, put on that smiley face, just to make things work out, put in more screaming to stuff. And one thing I learned that was very helpful for me was I had beautiful songs back home from Nigeria. Like I teach them, so it
Really?
makes the work more faster. So they're enjoying it. Anytime they see me, oh Larry, sing that song for us. So
Oh,
it makes the
I
work
love
more
that.
faster.
Yeah.
And yeah, anytime they see me, they scream Larry, which was really nice because so I realized I need to put in more effort to make these kids happy, to inspire these kids. So I put in the hard work myself
Yeah.
because nobody's gonna do this for me, and these kids love energetic instructor
Yeah.
because at some point I realized even those slow kids, the kids that are being slow, if you can energize them a bit, they are gonna be active and they're gonna make things work. They start doing things, try to engage them as much as I can
Yeah.
instead of just letting some of them wandering around. I just find something for them to do which makes the work more easier. So that was that. So I actually worked on myself to be able to suit everything and make everywhere interesting for the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Let's give some advice then. So 23 years old, and again, having done many things already in Nigeria, you've come to the UK, you've traveled loads around Africa already. What advice would you give to other Nigerians, other African people who are thinking of coming to this first world countries? Would you say yes, come? And then also, what advice would you give to those young people, or maybe some people who are a little bit older as well?
Yeah, my advice for those who want to come to Europe, either Europe, America, all of those first world countries, uh, just just think about it, let it flow. Like I didn't think much about it. It just came, and I felt that was the right time, and I just put in, and it went straight. I didn't force it. Some people do try to force it, and when God says it's not your time yet, there's nothing you can do about it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just put in. I felt like I've been denied visa before for a first world country. So I was like, I don't know, I might be denied again. And this went just smooth like that, just
Yeah.
straight like that. I was like, whoa, interesting. So basically,
Were you denied? Sorry. Which country?
I've been denied an American visa before.
America, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So even though that was denied, and then
Yeah.
you thought it was the same thing was gonna happen.
Yeah, so I was like, the same thing was gonna happen. So because I've been denied before, a first world country already denied me visa before. So basically, this country is also gonna deny me visa as well. So I didn't have. I hope I wasn't thinking about it because I don't even care.
Okay.
Because I was just like, well, let me just put in, and I just did, and everything just went straight, no obstacles.
Okay.
So if you're thinking of coming to Europe, yeah, put in your best, be truthful, do all of the right documentation,
Yeah.
and trust the process.
Okay.
And make sure your intentions are real. Because what you said you were gonna do this, and basically that was not what you were going there to do. You were at so all of these things are obstacles, and they can actually make your journey that was supposed to be a 5 minutes. They can actually make it 100-minute journey for you. So just do the right documentation,
Okay.
and just trust the process and pray.
And pray. I like it. So that's advice for anybody who is thinking of coming.
Yeah.
What about people in your situation who have come, they're here, they've seen? Those of us in diaspora, I was born here, but what would you say to other African people who have already come, maybe been here for a year or even longer? What advice would you give to African people who maybe even in some of the situations you were in, whether that's struggling with loneliness, missing family back home, or in difficult work environments? What advice would you give to some of those people here?
My advice for such people is to love what you're doing at that moment. Probably something caused the loneliness, but if you can try to figure out the surroundings of what you're doing. Try to make sure what is actually causing this loneliness. How can I make myself better? How can I be happy with what I am doing? And the first thing is to love what you're doing first. Because if you don't love what you're doing, I'm sorry, basically. And this country is a country where you have to work very hard. If you're lazy in Africa, you can't be lazy here. And when you're told eight, you should be there at eight.
Hey,
That was one major thing I learned because I was used to African time. I was very used to African time.
Although he was late today, guys. But
Yeah, I'm an African anyway. So yeah, you just need to work hard, figure out what has been causing this loneliness, and then you'll be happy with what you're doing at the end of the day. That's the best way to sort out.
Okay. So thank you again for coming on my channel, for sharing your story, and for giving the viewers advice and being honest and sincere. I really, really appreciate it. So you guys know, thank you for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, follow Damilarry's channel as well. I'll make sure I put links in the description box and you'll see some things coming up on the screen. So this is NorSpeaksOut, and for today, Damilarry has spoken. And so we're asking you, Wahura.
Wahura.
Which means, are you listening?
Are you listening?
Make sure you are. Bye, guys.
Ooh.